Hello, everyone. My name's Carl, and I'm a very grateful recovered drug addict. Dave, thank you very much for your service, my mate. Really good to see you up there. You're doing a fantastic job. Really nice to see you, mate. Thank you to everyone else who's put the meeting on and done some service tonight, all the people who read. Um, yeah, thank you for asking us to share, mate. It's really nice to be back here and see some old faces and some new. And obviously, I've been asked to carry the message tonight. So, what is the message? Let's just get that out of the way. And it's this really. I came into Cocaine Anonymous suffering with a terrifying drug and alcohol problem. I was on the brink of suicide. I was in a bad, bad way. And I've went through the 12 steps of Cocaine Anonymous. And I had a spiritual awakening that relieved me completely of the obsession to drink and use. And today I am a very grateful, recovered addict, and I just want to give anyone on the meeting who's still suffering, any newcomers or anyone back from a relapse, the warmest of welcomes and tell you that there's a way out and you're not on your own and we absolutely can recover. And the solution's right here, in my experience. I don't have to go anywhere else. I don't have to do anything else. I just need to throw myself into this. So what was it like? Um, well, I remember I remember knowing that there was always something a bit different with me when it came to drinking and drugging. Like I remember like when I was a little kid, I used to watch my dad come in from work with like a 4 pack of cans and he'd sit on the settee and watch some telly and drink the 4 pack of cans and relax, then have some food and go to bed. So before I started drinking, I had this idea in my mind of that, like that's what drinking was. Like you come in after work when you're an adult, you have 4 cans and then you go to bed and then you do the same thing the next day. But I remember when I did start drinking, it just was never that for me, ever. Like there was kind of, I didn't cross a line or anything like that. I always had this allergy that we speak about where I lack control over the amount I take. I always, always, always had that. And by every form of self-deception and experimentation and trying different methods and things to try and drink normally and use normally, I could just never do it. I could just never ever do it. And I knew that from an early age. And look, it doesn't really matter where I went, what I did, how many girlfriends I had, any what jobs I got sacked from. It doesn't really matter, does it? For identification purposes, when I start, I can't stop, and when I stop, I can't stay stopped. That's the dilemma that I was in. And my drinking and drugging quite quickly took me to a really, really dark place. And I'm talking about like in my early 20s, where I was isolated, I was alone, drinking and using, not like for fun, not going out to bars and having parties, nothing like that. Just on my own, paranoid to fuck. It just absolute like uh, it's hard to put it into words really, but I'm sure most of you know exactly the place I'm talking about. But yeah, I quite quickly realized that there was a problem. There was something drastically wrong with me, and it got so bad that even when I wasn't using, I would still be absolutely insane, like so uncomfortable in my own skin, up 1 minute, down the next, full of fear, just so uncomfortable with me, couldn't look people in the eye and things like that. And it was just a cycle of absolute insanity, what I'd just go around in. And it was like this. I'd pick up a drink or a drug based off a lie that my head said, it's going to be different this time, or just try this, or just try that. I never pick up thinking you're going to be sat there 2 weeks later, smoking crack, drinking vodka, crying into the crack. It never says that. I don't pick up intending to do that. I pick up based off a lie that my head says. I think it's safe to pick up. And then I'll have the first one, and then that physical craving kicks in where I just can't stop. It demands more. I don't know when it's going to end. And it's baffling. Well, it was baffling for me and everybody around us because, like, I just didn't know why. I couldn't just go home when everyone else went home and just didn't know why. But I understand today I'm bodily different from my fellows and I have this allergic reaction. and this is part of alcoholism and addiction. Um, I'll sit on it for a few days in absolute hell, like absolute hell, crying my eyes out as I pour another glass of vodka, or like robbing, stealing, lying, cheating, whatever I've got to do to get more, hurting me loved ones. And then I'll come out of it absolutely shameful and remorseful and just absolutely sick of me life, like suicidal, thinking I'm definitely never ever doing that again. And I mean it every time. I really do mean that. Like you might have heard, like if you'd have put a lie detector test on me in that moment, I'm telling the truth. I don't want to use ever again. But over the course of like a week or maybe 2 weeks, sometimes I could even get like 3 or 4 weeks off the drink and drugs because I'd like throw myself into the gym or throw myself into something new. There might be, I don't know, but like I might be able to get like 3 or 4 weeks clean sometimes. And then over that 3 or 4 weeks, I just become more and more irritated and I'm just not right inside. I'm not right inside. I'm ill at ease. I'm uncomfortable. I'm just not happy. Do you know what I mean? I'm not happy. And then that little voice starts again, that little niggle, like, I might just be different this time, or you've done good. In fact, I used to like do 3 or 4 weeks off the drink, and I'd think, well, you definitely don't have a problem with drink or drugs because addicts and alcoholics don't do 3 weeks clean. Do you know what I mean? So I'd be thinking, well, it's safe to go and use now, and then bang, and then the cycle was just going on like that. Look, if you can identify with that at all, you're probably one of us, and you probably need to go through the big book with a sponsor and have your own spiritual awakening. Um, which is exactly what I did. Like I said, um, I came into Cocaine Anonymous a proper scared, lost little boy. Didn't know who I was. I didn't even know how fearful I was until I stopped using and came into CA and I joined these meetings and I was just like a quivering mess, as some of you will remember. Um, but yeah, I remember just getting a sponsor and just like I heard these guys speaking on the meeting and they were free, man. They were just free. They were clean, they were sober, they were explaining the place that I used to be in, but they seemed all right now. And there was kind of none of this like, I'm not like I'm worse than them. I just wanted what they had straight away. And yeah, I'm really grateful for like people in here who do the do, who actually do this stuff and who are passionate about it, and who are willing to pass this message on and sponsor others. Because I fell into these guys' hands and I was shown the way. And although I thought it was a load of bollocks at the time, as most of us do when we first come in, I was told to pray on a morning and get on my knees and just ask a higher power for a clean and sober day. And me personally, right, I was never spiritual. I was never religious. In fact, I come from a very anti-religious family. We never believed in God or anything like that. But do you know what it is? I was that broken where I was just like, yeah, I'm willing to give it a go. Like I'm willing to just get on my knees and do a daft prayer. Do you know what I mean? Like why not? Because I'd tried everything else. I'd exhausted all the other avenues, the counseling, the medication, all the stuff that would try. This was a last resort. So it was like, right, no problem. I'll pray, no problem. And it started off in the beginning for me, just a simple, just like getting on my knees like this, going, can I please have a clean, sober day? It felt weird. It was odd. But the fact is I was willing to do that. And like it talks about in the big book, is all you need in the beginning is that willingness. And plus, right, think about it like this: if anybody's struggling with step two, maybe you need to go back to step one, because it's for me when you realize you're broken and you're dying of alcoholism and addiction, that agnosticism just goes away. It does. It really, really does. I was told to meditate, which I thought was quite odd as well. I remember I used to just stick a 5 minute YouTube meditation on and just sit and listen to it. My head raced. It was so busy, just raced uncontrollably, but I'd just try and knock the thoughts out, try and bring it back to the meditation. And yeah, again, just the fact that I was willing to do that, I think was enough back then. Um, Gratitude list, ringing my sponsor on time every day, calling a couple of newcomers and not talking about myself, asking how they are, getting a home group, and really important, getting to the home group early and helping, like getting involved. I was taught, don't sit on the outside looking in, be a part of, get involved, get a service commitment, get there early, be the last one to leave, set the chairs out. And from my experience of being here over the years, they're the people who are still here, the people who do that. Honestly, hand on my heart. Um, so I got involved with all that. 12 steps, smashed through them with a sponsor. Um, Quite hard, not gonna lie, a difficult process. Who wants to self-search, look at yourself, some of the realizations that came to me through the 12 steps was that, I'd been playing the victim my whole life and I wanted everybody to feel sorry for us. And when I came here, that was quite quickly smashed out of me because no one was going to. Because at the end of the day, right, sympathy kills addicts, quite literally, and victims just don't get well here. They just don't. Um, and when I got all my shit down on paper in step four, I quite re quickly realized that a lot of it was all like delusions and fancied resentments and just things that I'd made up in my head. And like I was in full flight from reality, is what I'm saying. I was absolutely insane. And I was the problem. It was me. It wasn't where I grew up. It wasn't my friends. It wasn't my parents. It wasn't my upbringing. It was me. Absolutely clear as day. It was me. And that's what I got mainly from step four and five. So having seen that and accepted that, I became willing to go around and clear the wreckage of my past because I'd been an absolute bastard. I'd caused a lot of harm. And willingly I just set about it with enthusiasm. Do you know what I mean? And I went round my friends and my family and work colleagues and all that sort of stuff, and I asked for forgiveness and I listed my wrongs and expressed my regret, a genuine amends, not just rocking up going, yeah, I'm sorry for calling you a cunt. Like a genuine, like, I want to put this right. That's what it was. Um, and as a result of that, I became freer and freer and freer. And what I realized is the only thing I need to be free from is me, the bondage of self, the thing that I create in my head, all these fears, resentments, guilt, shame, remorse. That's what I need to clear. That's what I need to be rid of so I can form a relationship with a loving God, which is ultimately going to keep me clean and sober if I do his bidding, like it says in the book. I was told once I got through the steps to go out and sponsor others and help as many people as I could. And by the way, I think it was only about a week of committing myself to this that the obsession left. And I think I've just gone 3.5 years clean and sober. It's never returned, not once, not a day that it's came back. And that was when I was about a week clean. So I can hand on my heart say that the 12 steps do what they say they do on the tin, that obsession will be removed, but only if you fully submerge yourself in this stuff. Do you know what I mean? You can't, I mean, it talks about being fearless and thorough from the very start. To me, that means don't leave anything out, don't leave any stone unturned. Don't have days where you think, "Ah, I can't be arsed with this." And I honestly, this is how I treat it. I'll be honest with you, I'm a bit under the weather. I've been ill all week, and today all day my head was battling with this. I didn't want to do the share, but I'm committed. I am committed, and I know how important this stuff is. And when I say I'm going to be somewhere and carry the message, I'm here and I turn up and I do it. And that's at 3.5 years in. And I'm just saying that to kind of set an example for anyone who's new in. And your head's going, just fuck the meeting off tonight. No, man. No, don't listen to that. Don't go to the mind for the answers. The very thing that got us here in the first place. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm here anyway, and I feel mint about being here. So it was talking shite anyway, wasn't it? But yeah, I I went through the steps. I started sponsoring people. I've always had a service commitment, always in a home group, or I've worked my way up and down like district and area and things like that. Um, but yeah, what has recovery given me? What has putting the 12 steps first in my life every day, seeking a loving God every day, helping people every day? What has this stuff given me? Well, it hasn't given us me life back because I never really had a life. It's given us Again, it's hard to put into words, but I've definitely grown up in Cocaine Anonymous, right? I've learned how to do simple things like pay bills, be a responsible adult, like pay council tax and pay my phone bill and like all this adult stuff that I had no clue about. You guys and God have taught me how to do it. How to show up, how to say I'm gonna be somewhere and I'll be there, how to be honest. I used to lie all the time, man, all the time. I was just a liar. And I don't lie anymore. I generally don't lie, and that's because I've got nothing to lie about. And even if I think something might upset someone, I'm quite happy to tell the truth because I know that that's how God would have me be. I've fell in love in recovery, and I've been taught how to accept being loved and how to love someone else, how to not cheat on a girl, how to like not in an abusive relationship, just in a how to respect a female. I've been taught that stuff in recovery. That's what I've got. I've got my own home. Um, do you know what it is, right? I always mention this because I think it still blows my mind today, and I take no credit for it. I take no credit for it. But I started off in a dry house, right? When I was new in recovery, I was in a supported housing on benefits. I had nothing. I had nothing, absolutely nothing. And over the years of being in recovery and slowly just chipping away, putting action in every day, every month, having a long-term vision in my head and putting recovery first, right? I've managed to come off benefits, go self-employed, pass my driving license, get a little van, build up my tools, set up a business. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't want to break traditions, but I've got myself a little check a trade website. I've got a couple of lads working for us now. I've built up like a good clientele and I've got loads of good reviews and yeah, man, it's mental because I was quite literally a crackhead scumbag that you wouldn't want anywhere. You wouldn't want me in your home. And now I'm trusted to go into people's homes and work and provide for my girlfriend and my family. Do you know what I mean? I've got my family back because of recovery. I was able to make amends to my mum and dad who I didn't speak to for a long time. They trust me today. They really do trust me today. We've got a good relationship. We're on a different footing today, and it's been built on new, like a new. I'm struggling to find the words because it really is just so amazing. But I've got fantastic relationships, and it's all because of this stuff. Because I really did some horrible things to my family. I robbed off them. I attacked them. It was quite literally horrific. So what do I do today, right, to make sure that to keep this stuff, what do I do? And every day, right, I get up and the first thing I do is my morning routine, right? I'll go to the toilet, make a coffee, and then come and sit in the on my settee over there and pray and meditate, write my gratitude list. Um, and that's what I do before looking at my phone. I'm really, really strict about that because what I've found in the past is if I go on social media or go on my phone, I'm plugging straight into fear rather than God. And I need to invite God in when I wake up, as soon as I wake up, because I'm an untreated addict when I wake up. Um, and then I go about my day, right? Just trying to be a good man. Just trying to be a good man. Like I'll ask God on the morning, what would you have me be today, God? And I'll visualize it in my mind. And it's normally just be polite to people, say hello to a stranger, hold the door open for someone. Ask how the cashier's doing. Just be a good person. And when I've got that vision in my mind from the morning, it's my responsibility to then go and live up to that. And my experience is if I do live up to it and if I do live aligned with God's will, what I think God's will is for me, I'm happy, I'm joyous, and I'm free. There's no fear, no anxiety, no depression. When I take my will back and I'm in the gym and I get a bit fearful and I start staring people out and thinking I'm the boy or I'm full of anxiety, full of fear, because I'm taking my will back. I'm not behaving how God would have us. And every time I get burnt, I have to I have to stay aligned with God's will if I want to be happy, if I want to be truly happy. And honestly, today, as a result of doing this stuff, I still have a home group. I go there every week. I've got service at my home group. I'm a treasurer. Um, I've got sponsees. I take infantry every single night. And I think the main thing is just trying to practice the principles in all your affairs. Like I can't just come on here and be talking all God and all this stuff and then, kicking the dog and like, driving without insurance and things like that. I can't be doing that if I really want recovery, proper recovery. So yeah, I owe my life to Cocaine Anonymous quite literally. And not only am I very, very grateful to the big book, the 12 steps, all of the people that have went before me. But my family, my loved ones, my friends are also very grateful as well. From the bottom of my heart, I know that. Um, just one, yeah, I mean, all I want to say, right, is if you're on the fence about this stuff, or if you're not getting it, people come in and go, I'm not getting it, I can't get it, I can't get it. There's nothing to get, man. There's nothing to get. This whole deal is about giving and helping others because the problem for the addict and the alcoholic is selfishness and self-centeredness. I'm so consumed with how I feel, me, how I'm feeling today, me, what's going on in here. So the solution to that is the opposite. Be selfless, give, and honestly, you only have to be one day clean and sober and you can start contributing to life anywhere in life, doing the dishes, doing selfless acts, buying a homeless man a bloody cup of coffee. Just start giving, and you'll quite quickly find that you start to feel better, as well as, of course, going through the steps, getting connected to God, putting in daily consistent action, and joining us in the trenches and helping the next man. So yeah, I feel like I've said enough now, Dave. Thank you again for having us. And yeah, it's an honor and a privilege to be here. I love you all. Thank you.